Hey guys, we're back with the next episode of our Sryth Fantasy text-based RPG. Last time, we were headed back to Trithix so I can go to the windowless building with the blue door. And we've done that, and we found out there's more adventures here, so that'll be fun. I'm thinking I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm gonna go back to the southeast where I was to Drow Dock and continue our adventures there first. And then I got a comment about being able to see the things or the table of contents. Was it like just a list of things? So we got Thane. There's six of them. I thought there was five. Alright. Okay, this is not what I wanted to happen. Okay. Mirandol is the one from Jaldop. We met him. They received Jaldop, perhaps the most strategic and heavily guarded point in all of Tisa. The Thane is also, by virtue of his title, High Commander of a massive ever-present army garrison that stoutly defends the gateway to the south. Often been at odds with various military leaders whose troops frequently occupy much of the city, Great-Bearded Thane remains a brilliant tactician whose skill and loyalty have served to win him the favor of the king. Despite being slight to build, Thane is an expert swordsman who once served as a Tissian border ranger. Hey, I'm a border ranger. Though not always noticeable, Thane Marauder walks with a slight limp and has some difficulty raising his left arm. Many have speculated that the blame for this lies with a serious injury suffered on the field of battle many years ago. Alright. I've never met Mazenbach. The mysterious but extremely influential Thane Mazenbach is arguably second to only the king with regard to his power he wields in the kingdom. From just below his eyes to the bottom of his chin, his face is concealed behind a black wooden mask. Most believe that this artificial accoutrement hides a disfigurement he obtained early in life, though there are many who think it disguises something more sinister. There's also many who long suspect the middle-aged Thane possesses potential magical ability, though such suspicions have never been proven, and no official doubt has ever been levied upon Mazenbach. It is forbidden by law for Tissian Thanes and Tissian monarchs to possess magical abilities. What? I did not know that. Well, all accounts, Thane Mazenbach is an exceptional warrior who first came to prominence as a man who united many of Tissian's northern uh, militias to defeat the mountain goblin tribes that long ravaged the kingdom's rugged frontier. His leadership and valor earned him high praise and won him the admiration of King Renwald, who, upon the death of Thane Yindreth, made Mazenbach heir to the lofty title. Upon becoming Thane, Mazenbach took up residence in the ancient and grim fortress of Stonemarch, a northeastern corner of the kingdom. Mazenbach maintains the largest standing fighting force of all Tisa's Thane, and as he oversees the defense of the kingdom's northern and eastern frontiers. Many have criticized the Thane Mazenbach for what they perceived as unbridled ambition. There's been more than one voice, some even within the king court, who raised concerns over the size of the army he commands. Despite such rambling, Mazenbach seems to have maintained the favor of King Renwald, also who considers him a staunch defender of the kingdom and a trusted and honorable ally. Thane Mazenbach's most recent endeavor has taken him to Sangar, Iowa. He assumed the daunting task of overseeing the rebuilding of Sangar Keep and commanding soldiers who waged a brutal battle against the savage troll and goblin tribes that dominate much of the island. His critics have been quick to denounce his latest move as another of Thane's supposed grasp for power, and many would conclude that his experience in such matters and his previous success is reasoning. He has replaced the man who for nearly a year led an effort to retake the isle. Lauded Tizian Commander General Tarakin. Hey, I know General Tarakin. Okay, named Monroe, former sea captain in the Tissian Navy. Monroe of Wiltwind had famed and bestowed upon him by King Renwald for many years of courageous service. He gave the crown on the high seas. Dame Morel is an old sea rat at the heart, and many close to him suspect that he still longs for the days of high adventure in the raging seas. Where does he live? It's the important part. In Pyron, that's Trithixtane. Yep. Alright. Then Quirith. I met Quirith when we did that thing, right? The archery contest. Then Quirith, the eldest of the Teaser's five Thanes. It says there's five of them. has been tasked by King Rinwell with upholding law and order in the capital city of Tilinus and surrounding countryside. Riorcielin by birth, the Thane's family immigrated to Tisa when he was a small child, and his father rose to prominence as a skilled horseman and field commander in the Tissian army. Following in his father's footsteps, Quirith also rose to the Tissian army ranks and was a commanding general during the several of the great Goblin Wars that were raged in the Felrundin foothills. The Thane is a cool and calculating man, and indeed there are many inside the court of King Renweld who do not approve of his thaneship. Some have even gone as far as to question his loyalty to the king. Despite such ramblings, King Renweld maintains that Thane Quirith is a brave and loyal subject who has time and again proven himself worthy of his lofty title. So, one, two, three, four, five, six. That's what I'm saying, the six. Named Thorlan. Having earned an almost unparalleled reputation as a heroic adventurer and a loyal, powerful, and influential supporter of the Tissian crown, Thane Thorlan has recently been taking the task of reclaiming and securing Sargon Isle. Except not anymore, because Mazenbach's doing that. And Thane Yindrith died. Interesting. Well, it's cool to know about all of them. I've only met two or three, I'd say. Alright, let's see about the bazaar now that it's open. Okay. Items for sale. Trash. I didn't check anything. Go back. Got an armor side. Sell. Padded sleeves. Oh, you can have it. Alright. As you make your way out of the bazaar, you encounter a trio of young vulgar men who are obviously spoiling for trouble. When you attempt to pass by and be on your way, one of them holds out his arm across your chest and steps directly into your path. You will kindly not cross the path of Iliok, the brave again, lest you seek to pay him homage, wench. He sneers. If you would be so kind as to tell our dear friend Iliok that you meant him no slight, he may perhaps deem you worthy of being spared a beating. Iliok the brave has become an unwelcome blight in and around Jaldok over recent years. A master warrior, at barely 30 years of age, Iliok's skill with the blade and head for battle are matched only by his cruel nature and unabashed egoism. Iliok earned his fame and fortune by leading a band of mercenaries that defeated several groups of marauding bandits around Jaldok. Such escapades endearing him to many within the city, including Thane Merindal. However, in subsequent years, he has largely fallen out of favor due to his extreme uncouth manner and suspected association with several unsavory characters. In recent months, Iliok's actions have only served to strengthen his fearsome reputation, although it can't be proven. It is suspected that he has had a hand in several brutal slayings in and around Jaldok. While the city contends with other matters, most are content to attempt to stay out of Iliok's way while he wages his small but brutal campaign of terror. Interesting. Another young man steps forward, top half of his face almost completely obscured by the mop of tangled brown hair. He flashes a crooked smile and folds his thick arms across his broad chest. Recalling the little you have heard about Iliok and his crew, you are certain that the goal of these men is to frighten and humiliate you. You also know, however, that all accounts are that Iliok is not only a swagger bully, but also a master warrior whose blade has known the blood of many of his former enemies. We even got all day, wench, growls the young man. Hurry up with the apology before there's a terrible mishap here and now. Mindful of the brutal reputation of Iliok and his crew, you quickly consider your next course of action. Reviews. You smile at the young man's bold request and slowly shake your head. The man draws a short sword and steps forward menacingly, but Iliok places a hand on his shoulder to restrain him. Let this one go, says Iliok, his voice much softer than you had expected. There'll be a day when this flower shall be picked, but it's not today. The softly spoken words of this master warrior send a chill up the length of your spine. You're beginning to believe that you made a very deadly enemy in Iliok the Brave. Yeah, now let's fight now. You want to talk? You boldly step toward the three men, challenging the nerve of your display of bravado. Iliok shoves the other two men out of the way and strides forward to meet you, his longsword exiting its sheath in one swift movement as he approaches. You bandy with death, yet I shall attempt to spare you its icy touch, he sneers as he comes at you with the flat of his blade. Alright, let's subdue. We don't want to kill him. He's friends with the Thane. He didn't hit me. Badly battered, but still very much alive, Iliad painfully regains his feet and limps off without a word through the crowd that had gathered to watch the brutal spectacle. He leads two cohorts are given wide berth by anyone standing in their path. You're a dead man now. Oh, sure, said the young street urchin as he flashed your misfortune. Master Iliac won't let this rest, lady. He's probably already planning his revenge. The urchin dashes off in the crowd, and you turn and make your way out of the bazaar, hashing over his parting words in your mind. Not worried about it. Let's hit for the adventure. Alright, terror from below, let's do it. While speaking with the farmer at the bazaar, you're surprised to learn that he and several others narrowly escaped the deadly claws of several fierce sternworms that burrowed up through the field late last evening. The farmer, a man named Urtwin, tells you that he has come into the city to seek whatever help he can get from the Tissian army. We don't dare go back up the field while those foul things might be lurking about, Urtwin says. He seems genuinely taken aback when you suggest that he allow you to look into the matter. He looks you over and quickly agrees to show you to the field in question. What did you see when you looked me over? Utwin leads you to a small village outside the city and along a broad, rocky road that takes you through an area of lush farmland. Less than an hour out of Draldok, you arrive at the field where the attack occurred. A handful of farmers move about the series of four large holes near the center of the ploughed field. Each of them is wielding either an axe or a club, although judging by the looks of them, you surmise that they are not trained combatants. Suddenly, one of the farmers shrieks and falls back from the edge of the hole at his feet, landing hard on his back. An instant later, the grotesque head of the large stone one shoots out of the hole, its powerful pincers gnashing wildly. The massive creature rears up and prepares to strike the hapless farmer sprawled on the ground. Rush forward and check the third one. Archery. Always go for archery. Your arrow flies straight and true and buries itself in the third one's rubbery, fleshy midsection. The foul creature immediately sinks back into the hole from which it emerged and lost from sight. Several of the farmers cheer. You rush forward to help the fallen man to his feet before rejoining Ertwin, who's cautiously moving in your direction. You speak at length with Ertwin and the other farmers at the edge of the field as they provide you with a colourful, if not somewhat embellished, account of the morning's events. One of the farmers is recounting his narrow escape from the jaws of one of the thornworms when suddenly the ground begins to tremble violently. It's an energy drink, and it's zero sugar, 10 calories, bunch of B vitamin, and 1 cup of coffee worth of caffeine. Because I'm gonna be sleeping in a minute. The earth beneath your feet buckles, tossing you back nearly a dozen feet as the head of the gargantuan worm explodes to the surface, sending a shower of dirt and debris down upon you. The fearsome creature rises out of its wide earthen tunnel and rears back as it prepares to strike. You quickly assume a defensive stance and are somewhat surprised when two of the farmers rush to your side. The axes raised to attack the terrifying behemoth. Ancient Thornworm. Kill. What? These people. These things always running away. With an agonized roar, the massive Thornworm sinks back into its hole and quickly disappears from sight. The ground rumbles as the hideous behemoth retreats along its subterranean passage. They quickly decide that the massive thornworm cannot be allowed to escape. Most of the farmers wish to alert the Sicilian army and have them deal with the creature, while the two farmers who fought by your side are willing to follow the worm through its tunnel and finish it off right here and there. The farmers turn to you for your opinion. Let's go. The two farmers who fought by your side, Pinlar and Fruit, seem pleased by your decision. The other wish to give you luck as you boldly descend into the wide tunnel. The tunnel descends rapidly in less than 50 yards from the surface and splits into two passages of equal size. You're unable to determine which passage the retreating thornworm followed. I feel like my camera's too far back. You think it is? Zoom in. Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah, 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 yeah. Better, butter, better, butter. Okay. Both Pringle and Fruit seem to be waiting for you to make the decision. Let's go with divination. You're able to sense that the third one has gone down the passage to the left. However, you also sense that both passages are connected, and the head of the massive worm would likely be facing were you to follow the passage to the left. I mean, approaching the take the word for Highness is the most prudent course to you. Alright, we'll go from behind. You approach. You proceed with caution down the steeply sloping passage to your right, with the two brave farmers, Pinlar and Fruit, at your side. Suddenly, Pinlar makes a motion to the tunnel ahead, where you can see the tail end of the massive downworm looming in view. The two of you keep forward, determining to launch a decisive attack against the unsuspecting creature. When you're within striking distance, you waste no time laying into the fearsome beast. The ancient thornworm thrashes violently as it attempts to fend off your attack. You will not be able to flee from this combat. You must battle the massive thornworm to death. To the death! Yes, die. The thornworm's body shudders violently for several seconds before it crashes on the floor of the earth tunnel and becomes still. The two farmers, who both sustained minor injuries in the battle, express their amazement at your combat prowess. The poor beast didn't really ever stand a chance, did it? Smiles Pinlar. With the three of you emerge from the tunnel, you greet with loud cheers from the other farmers. Earthwind meets you in a shoulder cross and tells you that he is entirely grateful for all that you have done. You bid farewell to Earthwind, Pinlar, Fruit, and the others gathered here before setting out on your way back to the city. Oh, that's it. The end. Done. Alright, next one. Scale it. And so begins Mossy Marauder. Under an early morning blue summer sky in the forested hills north and east of Draldok, you draw to a halt as you near the center of the bridge, your wary gaze frozen on the strange imposing figure standing at the apex of the narrow arched span. The man on the bridge, his grimy hands gripping the moss half of the fearsome double-bladed axe, is clad in a suit of leather armor. Thick patches of green moss cling to the surface of his battle-tested attire. He grins wickedly as you approach before suddenly dipping into a bow. He returns to an upright stance and fixes you with a stern gaze. For nearly a week, you've doggedly pursued the outlaw who now stands less than a dozen yards from you. The broad-shouldered fugitives, whose theft and subsequent disposal of valuable magical tome pales in comparison to the 6 murders that allowed him to effect the high spit on the timbers at his feet. "You'll not take me alive, neither will you present them with my head," he says. Oh, his voice is deep and commanding. Whoops. It wasn't an easy feat to hunt me down, to that I'll attest, but the endeavor comes to an end here. All that need be decided now is how it will be done, with my axe or my bare hands. Have your preference. Undeterred by his smug and brazen demeanor, you swiftly arrive at your response. Exit, man. What? That's less brutal? The less brutal of the choices, he says, frowning. No matter, for the end is the same. I'll be sure to leave your head at the feet of those who paid you to hunt me down. At another word, the murderous outlaw, known only as the Mossy Marauder, bounds forward, his deadly axe poised to deal you a single decisive blow. Archery. Your arrow streaks through the air and strikes the left shoulder of your charging foe, eliciting an agonizing grunt from the fearsome outlaw. As he staggers forward, suddenly, seemingly undeterred by the shaft protruding from his shoulder, you seize the opportunity to rush ahead to engage in the wounded. Okay, so we can't subdue him, we just gotta kill him. Kill! Stepping back from the lifeless body of the outlaw, known only as the Mossy Marauder, you exhale sharply, thankful for a lengthy hunt. That lengthy hunt and final brutal engagement is at last over. Look at all the Mossy Marauder's clothes. As quick search of your slain foe's remains, turn up only Mossy attire and his axe, and a pouch containing a small quantity of gold. Talk about small. Not wishing to leave anything behind, he decided to take it all. Well aware that Draldok is almost a full day's trek from here, and it's exceedingly unlikely you'll reach its gates before dark. You waste no time collecting the rather gruesome evidence required to prove the marauder's death, and after dragging his remains beneath the bridge, you spare any who might pass his way of a grim discovery. You set off on your way, eager to announce the end of the outlaw's days of robbery and murder to the ages of Thane Marindor. The 1,500 gold you acquired represent the 500 gold you received in the outset, and the 1,000 gold you will receive upon providing evidence of the marauder's death to the Thane's agents. As you travel south and western on the Miranding Road, you brought to a desolate spot. Your eyes are suddenly drawn skyward. High above, presently little more than black dots gliding across the carrion bursts have already begun to circle. Have I got to go to the thing? Lane Mirandol meets you in the shoulder cross and welcomes you to his private chamber. He listens with great interest as you relay him the details of your more recent adventures. Go well and be strong, Alison, he says as you prepare to depart. You're very welcome within the walls of Drawdock. Oh, okay, I see. Who's been by? Hi, Bop Bop. Hi, Jack Oakenham. Hi, Rosha. Hi, Frilzuk. And hi, Eron. Sorry if I've said any of your names wrong. um, I should tend to my horse. That's what I think I should do. Tend. He's still indifferent. How rude. Oh, she's still indifferent. Alright, travel southeast. Yeah, let's hit Tridmore. Take a good look about. Oh, there's nothing happening here. Situated on the northwest flank of Barrow Loch, surrounded by a vast expanse of bleak moorland, the city of Tridmore has long served as an important waypoint for traffic bound for destinations south along the River Trent. Indeed, Tridmore is the last stop for any southbound river vessel before breaking the murky and historically dangerous waters of Barrow Loch. The current city is built atop the ruins of the ancient Tridmore, which collapsed and sunk into the earth during a powerful quake nearly 600 years ago. There are several sealed and secured entrances into lower ruins throughout the city. Okay, Tallies is here. Let's see what's going on at the harbour. The Trinidad harbour is a bustling place from long before dawn until long after dark. Large ships moored along its quay are continuously taking on cargo from many smaller vessels that have braved the southbound journey along this river trend. The larger vessel will now continue to trek south across the murky waters of Barrow Loch and its lower reaches of the kingdom. There's a seer here. Tika and the seer regards you with a nicety stare from the far end of the long table in which he is seated. The emaciated soothsayer seems to know about your very arrival and curtly asks what business you have with him. You apologize for interrupting him and leave. Okay, let's go to the alehouse. The alehouse, known as Lock Leap, is not a place in which you ever desire to spend a sizable amount of time. You move about the bustling common room, shouldering your way through the throng of woefully drunken denizens who crowd the cramped interior of the less than reputable establishment. Ah, adventure. Take a seat on the end of the short-legged wooden bench that runs astride a long table against the back wall and rest your weary feet. Moments later, a serving girl appears out of the crowd and sets some of the thin, watery ale down before you. She scowls briefly and then quickly departs. You sip the pungent but apparently free ale, as your eyes wander over the boisterous scene that dominates the cramped common room. Across the crowded room, when the inebriated braggart of a merchant rises unsteadily to his feet and staggers comically toward the alehouse door, your expert eyes are immediately drawn to the leather pouch dangling from his belt. What does that mean? Are we finna steal? A loud and largely obnoxious city guardsman who spent the better half of the evening drinking and annoying much of the crowd in the alehouse's common room. Someone's texting me. Well, I have no idea who they are. I don't know who you are. Best say who you are. Otherwise, I'm not texting you. I don't remember where it was, so I'll just start over. The loud and largely obnoxious city guardsman who spent the better half of the evening drinking and knowing much of the crowd in the alehouse's common room, finally staggers to his feet and announces for all to hear that he will be setting off on his way. As he moves past where you are seated, he seems to suddenly be stricken by a spell of dizziness and nearly stumbles onto you. He leaps to your feet and take him by the elbow in an honest effort to steady him, but he turns and scowls at you, tearing his arm away and assailing you with a long string of choice curses. You shake your head and sigh as you watch him teeter towards his front door. You're about to retake your seat when suddenly your eyes fall upon a tempting sight. Why would I do that? The man's leather coin purse dangles from his belt within easy reach of your practiced fingers. You cast a quick glance around and delighted to note that no one seems to be paying his departure any further in mind. No, I'm not going to steal from him. At the relative ease of the target, you decide against making any attempt at the coin purse. Instead, you retake your seat and watch him man as he stumbles out of the alehouse. I guess I'll leave. Interesting. Someone's just texting me. Okay. And I don't know who they are. Hello. Nope, I don't know anybody with a 650 number. Okay, let's see here. Let's go to the tavern. Among the more reputable establishments to be found lining the narrow streets that snake away from the harbour front, Bromir's Tavern is popular not only for the quality of its food and drink, but also its relatively peaceful atmosphere. The tavern's current proprietor, Kirith Banmik, a retired adventurer and an expert swordsman, is swift to harshly deal with inappropriate, any inappropriate conduct that arises. Alright, let's order some food first. The fare available at Braillemere's is simple, wholesome, and savoury. You hand a gold token to the serving lad and take a seat at a long table on the back of the bustling common room. A small feast, much more than you expect, arrives a few minutes later, along with the frothing tankard of the tavern's finest ale. With accompanying din of your fellow patrons ringing in your ears, you tug into the hearty meal. Thanks, you hearty. You find Kurith fixing a wobbly table leg. The respected tavern keep finishes the task in hand and then engages you in conversation. You learn that he's looking to expand the tavern by purchasing a vacant warehouse next door. That present that presents his own problems, said the bearded, retired adventurer, smiling as he shakes his head. I'll likely need some more help around this place if that ever happens. The more folk I pack in here, the more help I'm going to need. I can manage it as it is, but if it gets much bigger, well, I might need another set of heavy hands. After a lengthy conversation, you bid farewell to Kira, and he hurries off to see to some overlooked chore. Okay, one more food and drink. Nah, nothing's happening. Alright, leave. Shop called Griphook. Griphook from Harry Potter. Is he a goblin? Located in the northern side of the harbour area, snug between a noisy tavern and a rotting warehouse, sits the shop of Tirlonia Griphook, a shrewd trader by all accounts and a giant of a man. Tirlonia Griphook is said to possess one of the finest assortments of weapons and armour available anywhere in the kingdom, though it is said that he does not part with his inventory cheaply. A handful of rugged, unsavoury-looking characters lingers about the shop, presumably waiting to serve out the orders of their somewhat infamous paymaster. "You'll find a lot to be had in this forsaken town," smirks Tirlonia, as he presents you his large selection of wares. "Most of this is straight out of the old pirates' hoard at Grand Crown Isle. Go on, have a look for yourself." Alright, let's look. Expensive. Nothing's going to be as good as what I have. Right, just let me show you the stats of this horn. +5 body, +2 spirit, +50 melee, +10 spirit, and it's got +10 against demons and dragons and undead. So I think mine can't be unmatched. But these are some nice stuff. Do you have anything to sell? Bruh, you want to give me 41k for this? Oh, all of Mossy stuff is expensive. Alright. Let's talk. It's an Avenger! Oh, time's up. Telonia Griphook eyes you curiously and tells you that he wishes his shop was anywhere else in the realms. "I've been called as much as a swindler, even a thief," he scowls, "yet the worst of my antics pale by comparison with what goes on the streets of this town. By day and night, At least in Trithik, they got their thing to work at it. Our council and weak speaker largely leaves us to our own devices. It's really no good. No good at all. Continue. Alright, well, I'm gonna leave this adventure for next time. Thanks so much for hanging out and joining me. Till next time, you know what I'm gonna say. Peace.